Well, good morning, my beautiful coffee beans. Happy Manic Monday. It is time to wake up and get moving for the week. We've got a lot of cases we are covering this morning, from firework throwing drivers. Yes, driving down the road. We've got something like that. To a double homicide in Port St. Lucie, to Tristian and Andrew Tate being arrested. These are, content creators, well-known social media people, influencers, and they just came back from the UK. Apparently, there's some extradition things going on where they're going to be transferred back to the UK to deal with some significant charges. Nancy Guthrie case still not moving, still wondering what's going on, but we have a little insight into why Chris Nanos was under fire with the feds. We're going to get into that. We've got Lynette Hooker, and then, of course, some updates on Nolan Wells. Today, it's my understanding Nolan Wells is being put to rest. So just, a very somber day to start out our Manic Monday. But welcome, guys. We're going to get through all of this and learn a little bit about these cases. More importantly, what is going on with Andrew and Tristian, and why are they in the hot seat? Let's get into it. Good morning, folks.
Bullhorn Betty rocks.
So grab your beverage, come on in, get relaxed. We're going to be here for a while.
Coffee steaming, files on the table. We clocking early, hunt what's unstable. Bullhorn Betty on the curb, voice raised. Flip-flop queen with the homemade phrase. Notebook thick, got the screenshots flag. Names in red ink, every rumor, every tag. Late night live stream, screen glow on her face. Truth in her throat, got a lawman's pace. She don't blink when the threats roll through. Come see me, she says, if you think that's cute. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that they gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we get that justice. Insane Asylum, that's our crew nickname. Laugh so loud while we track these names. Whiteboard wild with the webs we spin. Pen to pen, see the pattern sink in. Thermo shaking when the case goes cold. We stir it back up, won't do what we're told. Doorstep question, side eye stare. Where were you that night? We hanging right there. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that they gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we get that justice. This for the faces on the milk cart labels. This for the families praying at tables. This for the names that the news won't say. We say them out loud every single day. Every day. If you're running in the dark, better feel that fear. Betty got a bullhorn right in your ear. Coffee club crazy, but we think so clear. One small town, whole world gonna hear. Hey! Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that they gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we take red
So good morning. Got a little popping in the system, but so far it's running fairly smooth. So I'm good. I'm happy. We're coming in clear. We're running smooth. So far, so good. and it ran a bunch of stuff because I've just been letting this thing roll to make sure if it's going to heck up, I can figure out what's wrong with it before we came live. So hopefully we won't have any problems with today's live, but it is a live show, so anything can happen, literally. Folks, if you don't know who I am, I'm Bullhorn Betty. We've been covering cases of true crime for several years, starting out with Gabby Petito being one of my very first true crime cases, and how polarizing that case truly was. So since then, we've been fighting for transparency, justice for these victims, and more importantly, for the bad guys to go and be put behind bars and put behind bars for a very, very, very long time. And also to bring awareness and education to certain types of crimes that there's never going to be them being rehabilitated. And some of those are the child crimes. The child crimes, the people that can commit child crimes will never, ever, ever be rehabilitated. They need to stay away from the general population for literally the rest of their life, the duration of their life. They cannot be walking amongst us without injuring or hurting us. It's just something mentally that is just broken in these people that will never be fixed. And so it's bringing a lot of education and awareness to certain types of crimes and certain types of assailants that will never therapeutically be healed. And because of that, they've got to stay away from the general population. So it's nice to see you, Melanie DeBoss. It's nice to see you, Miss Sonia, up in the chat. It's nice to see you, Peggy. Good morning, Denise, Deborah. It's nice to see you, Sister Karen. Good morning, Jennifer. It's nice to see you, Aletha. Good morning, Deborah, Leanne, T Fox. It's nice to see you, Mama. Good morning. The Ruby program. It's still a tongue tire. Sorry, Ruby. It still tongue ties me. Probably laugh. Me and you. Good morning. It's nice to see you. Guys, come on in. Yo, Mama. It's nice to see you. Horsey Love. Me and you. Who else do we have? Cynthia. It's nice to see you. Good morning. Good morning. Robin. Good morning, love. I hope you're doing. Thank you. Thank you for the marshmallow high. Ooh, Sandy, it's nice to see you. Good morning. Who else do we have? The real Me Too, blessing us with her presence. Trust the process. Good morning, love bug. I hope you're doing well. Who else do we have? I'm searching. I think we got everybody. So far. Alicia, good morning. It's nice to see you. YouTuber, I didn't say hi to you. I missed you. Wow, you snuck in right there. You're right there in front of my face and still missed you. Good morning, Donna. It's nice to see you. Well, guys, it's a great morning. Happy Manic Monday. We got a lot of stuff going on, so I have to be honest with you. I don't know who Andrew and Tristian Tate are. I hear they're these social media celebrity type people, and I'm like, who? And they're looking GQ and fly and everything, fly for Italian guys, I guess. I don't know. They look like kind of Italian. So I'm just like, who are these people? And then I'm hearing about the story and I'm like, oh my gosh, And then I hear that they're kind of on, and it makes me wonder, is this political? Because, the UK, Britain, and everybody, and of course the United States and Canada, because we're not allowing them just to rob us blind anymore. They hate us, right? They want to beat us up. They want to give us black eyes. Well, there's these people, and I'm not trying to downplay anything because they're being charged with some very serious crimes here. But they're also well known in the political sphere. And you guys know that what's the number one thing that they do if you're in politics? Sexual allegation into windows, right? Oh my gosh, he did this to me years ago. Oh my gosh, they did this, they did that. So listen, every time I turn around and it's a and it's sad. It's sad because it's really putting women that are truly assaulted by men, and it makes it harder for them. But you know what? The people in politics, they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about real victims. Let's be honest. They don't care about real victims. So trying to get them or trying to even remotely guilt them into not doing this shit anymore will never happen. Now, I'm not sure if that's the case here. I want to hear the facts. I'm never going to just side with somebody without facts. I don't know these guys, okay? They look like they could, I'm sorry, hot guys. They're more womanizers than anybody else, okay? Somebody that stands in front of a freaking mirror longer than you do, there's a problem with them, okay? Guys just don't act like that. These guys do. So there's something here, okay? So we've got that element here, but we also have the element of them being connected politically as well. And it makes you wonder, is this a hit? Because just like every other politician, we have the sexual assault allegations that always come out right about the time of, elections to try to blacken or, ruffle the feathers of somebody's integrity or whatever, their likeness to whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? So there's always that in the back of my head, but these are some significant allegations. So now that I've given you guys the total situation here, now we've got to dive in to find out, are these allegations, one, true, right? Will these allegations survive? These guys are going to be tried in a different country. You guys know me. What do I tell you? I'm not traveling to different countries. Why? Because of this shit right here, right? I feel safe here. I don't feel safe abroad. That's why I will not cover cases in other countries. I would not. I was even hesitant. I would have gone down to the Bahamas if I had that type of passport, that the one for Canada and Mexico and stuff like that. But I'm never going to get a passport to be a world traveler. I don't aspire it. Like, I'd love to see like New Zealand and Australia and Ireland and stuff like that, but I don't aspire to travel at this point with all of this chaos, me being a polarizing individual and somebody that supports a controversial president, right? And people around this country around this world may use me as a target. So I don't want to put myself in a position where I'm used as a pawn. And I have major repercussions of that just for wanting to go and brighten my horizons with world travel, right? So there's a lot of reasons why I've chosen not to travel. These folks do, right? They're high profile social media content creators, probably has millions of followers. They look good looking. So I'm pretty sure there's a lot of women falling head over heels over these guys, okay? Which is pretty sick, okay, guys? Have some self-respect, ladies. Self-respect. Anyways, you would think that these guys, and many of us for years, would say things like, oh, these guys are good looking. They would never need to R somebody, right? They would never need to take it. People just throw it at them. But we also have learned over the years that sexual assault's never really about the sexual part of the assault, right? It's about the power and the control that they have over you. That's what they love. That's what gets their rocks off, right? It has nothing to do with the actual act. It's the control and the power they have over you. That's what true people that sexually assault, that's usually the motivation for sexual assault crimes, right? They could get it someplace else. They could even pay for it, right? These people have a lot of money. If they wanted to go have the sexiest woman in the world that's bought and paid for, they could absolutely probably do that, right? But again, if they truly are convicted of this crime, it's not about the actual act itself. It's about the power and control. We know because over the years we've learned what makes a person want to sexually assault somebody, right? And even when you're in a relationship with somebody and they do that, why would they do that? You told them no. Why would they do it? Because they want to show you they can. It's power and control. So again, what are we dealing with here? Before we get started, we've got a flamethrowing driver that's angry with somebody. This is like a new level of road rage. And I'm sorry, it's a serious issue. It's a serious issue that I can't even keep a straight face for, okay? And it's, I'm sure, pretty scary as you're driving down the interstate at like 70 and 80 miles an hour and you start seeing flames and fireworks being tossed out of somebody's, trying to hit somebody. They're trying to hit somebody. Look at that. It looks like they're aiming for the box truck back there. They're angry. These people are angry. They're like, you pulled out in front of me and I got a vehicle full of fireworks here. You're no match for my fireworks. So they decided to start bombing the people that pissed them off. So they were caught. They were launching fireworks from a moving car on I-95 in Florida. Of course, I-95. It looks like they were tossing them out the window to somebody, but at the end of the day, I don't know if they were just drunk or what the heck happened. But either way, hopefully they won't do that again. We won't know. We don't know. So there you guys go, frame throwing. This is just a reminder, Jason Colthart, we've been covering his case. We've been covering his case for, since we've heard about it. He was reported missing May 2026, just recently. By June, they found his body in a shallow grave in Freeport, Florida, off of Sunset Drive. It seems like this was a house that she lived in. This is Isabel Rose Johnson. She's on the run right now. There's an $11,000 reward. We did a poll here in the audience, and they still believe that she might still be in Florida, but we did get some notifications from Florida Sheriff's Department here that is covering this case, and they say they believe that she is now has now made it to Athens, Georgia. They believe she has now made it to Athens, Georgia. They have credible information that leads them to believe that she is now in Georgia. So we do have Georgia family here in the chat, and I just want to make sure that we are making everybody aware of this lady. If you are in the biker world, if you are in the drinking world, if you have been known to go out to, seedy bars and stuff like that, now would be a great time for you to take those trips to those seedy bars. This lady has a major drug problem, okay? So she's going to have to, one, get money for drugs, and two, she's going to have to find people to give her those drugs. So she's going to be working, whether she's going to be slinging or whether she's going to be selling, dating people, so to speak. Those are all going to be happening in those seedy places, inside bars, inside, hole in the wall bars. She's not going to an upper class bar here, folks. Okay? She's going to be in some of the seediest, darkest freaking, bars that you can find. Listen, I got no problem with it. There's a lot of seedy bars I love going into. They're fun, they're dark, they got pool table, they got fun people, everybody's having a great time, right? So I'm not opposed to a seedy bar, okay? Back in my day, I'm seedy bar material, okay? Not so much anymore. I don't drink. I choose not to drink. It's not that I had, that I really care to. My problem was with substances. And I guess my problem, problematic drinker, I guess is what you could theoretically call me. But I was more substance than I was alcohol. I think it started with alcohol, but either way, I stopped drinking fully. Like I would have a drink here and there. I don't know for the last several years since my divorce, because I drank heavily when I was married, and I just didn't want that anymore. And so it was like right after right after I started splitting with my husband, I stopped drinking, and I drink here and there. But then after I had all that crap in 2022 and 2023 happened to me, I just stopped. I was scared I'd fall in the bottle and never come out. So I just said, nope, nope, not me, right? I know my limits. I'm heartbroken, and I don't need to fall in and never climb out. So I just said, nope. But at the end of the day, back in my younger days, this is where we went. This is where I got myself in a lot of trouble, was in these bars. So I know what kind of places she's going to go. I know where she's going to be hanging out. She's going to have to do that. She can't rely on everybody to do everything for her. People are going to get short, because she's dealing with people that are just like her. So they're going to give her as much as they can, but at some point they're going to start getting frustrated that they're feeling like they're getting taken advantage of, because they don't have a whole lot, because they have their own problems, their own substance abuse issues. So that's kind of how I'm seeing this stuff pan out. So guys, if she's in Georgia, we got a lot of family in Georgia from several cases that we covered in Georgia, including Quentin Simon. Now, granted, that is, more southern Georgia. Athens is more central northern Georgia. So she's kind of higher up there in Athens. But if you guys see her, call 911. Get yourself an $11,000 reward. $11,000 reward. We don't know what's going on with her and everything going on. And then, of course, before we start diving in, I think this is our last... Yeah, I think this is it. And then we start going into our story. Okay, yeah, we're getting there. We only had a couple little shows here. And they're all related to this one. So I just found out this morning that we have a double homicide in Port St. Lucie. Now, you guys are probably saying, why does that name sound so familiar to me? It's because Port St. Lucie is where they towed Lynette Hooker's soulmate, right? When they seized the soulmate. The first place they took it was Port St. Lucie. We just went over to Port St. Lucie to see that boat at the Coast Guard's office, at the Coast Guard. And so we were just there. Beautiful area. And then we find out there's this double fatal shooting. Now, this is of some young people, 22, 24 years old. We're finding out that this was over keys. Sounds pretty stupid. The men killed were identified as Carlo Lubu and Julian Stokes. 24 and 22. Just starting in life. And this is over some stupid car keys. Some stupid car keys led to this. Like, kids, again, their brains are not developed. We got to remember that. You know, they're adults, but their brains aren't even developed yet.
Tonight on the Treasure Coast, Port St. Lucie police are investigating a double shooting that left 2 people dead. Officers responded to several 911 calls about reports of gunshots at a home not too far from Lingate Dog Park. Our reporter Rachel Williams has been at the scene all day and tells us what neighbors are saying.
So again, just want to remind you, if you're coming in, this does not have anything to do with the shows that we're covering today. This is just breaking news. If you're in Florida or in the Port St. Lucie area, you guys are waking up this morning to a double homicide of 2 20-somethings. It's sad because these kids just graduated, just getting started in the real world, and now their parents are going to have to lay them to rest. It's very, very sad. I can't even imagine. And to hear that it's over keys. We got 2 dead young adults over keys. How stupid can some of this crap become?
The neighbors I spoke with tell me a shooting like this never happens in this quiet neighborhood. Port St. Lucie police responded to multiple 911 calls early Sunday morning right here along Southeast River Green Circle.
Yeah, believe it or not, I was in my garage at that time working on my bicycle, and I heard what I thought was gunshots, so I stayed in my garage. And then it sounded like a pack of firecrackers went off, and I'm like, oh, it's only firecrackers. So I stepped outside here, and I mean, it seemed like 20 shots at least.
When officers arrived on scene, they found 2 men with multiple gunshot wounds in the driveway of a home. A nearby neighbor who wants to remain anonymous tells me she spent the final moments with one of the victims, but doesn't know which one.
Once I heard, her screaming, and as soon as I saw the closest police, I just ran out here and I held his hand. It was just something in me that just made me like he needed me. Because if he didn't have what he needed at that moment, like in one hand, I made sure he got it.
Police identified the victims as 24-year-old Carl Lobu and 22-year-old Julian Stokes.
And it was just a moment where if I'm gonna go, like, you're gonna tell my mom I love her. You're going to let her know that I was not here by myself.
Investigators say the group had been socializing earlier in the evening before returning to the house. According to detectives, an argument broke outside over a house key and getting inside the residence. Police say the disagreement escalated into shots fired between 2 of the people involved.
I heard.
So there you guys have it. Just a sad case of just stupidity. Pure stupidity. 2 people dead over a freaking house key. 2 people dead over a freaking house key. It's unconscionable. It is absolutely unconscionable why, some of these cases are going on. But again, we have 2, I almost want to call them juveniles, but they're not. They're young adults, 22, 24, and they're gone. They're wiped off this earth for forever over a house key. And somebody, I don't anticipate it being, it's a double homicide. So that means the person's out there, and I have to assume that they must have they know who the person is. But if they were arguing over the house key to get in the house, it sounds like people that were living together at parts, roommates, family member, or something like that. That's just absolutely horrible. Yeah, absolutely. So stupid, yet so sad. Absolutely, Ruby. So stupid, but so sad. And completely preventable. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Unlocked. It's nice to see you. Completely, utterly preventable. Okay, we're going to start diving right into some of our core cases here. So this is the case of Andrew and Tristian Tate, and they were arrested by U.S. Marshals in Miami. This is how we learned about it. I saw this come out, the coverage come out yesterday. As many of you guys know, I was inundated with stuff that I had to get done. It's the only day, I really don't get any days off. We work pretty much 7 days a week here. Occasionally I have to take some downtime to get some stuff done, clean house, do laundry, those types of things. But right now I'm packing up the house. I'm in the process of getting the house, as decluttered as possible, because I need to put some stuff into storage. There's some repairs that need to be made around this house, some stuff that needs to be done, and I'm giving myself 6 to 9 months to get everything done and get this house on the market. So I've got to get in gear if I'm ever going to get out of this blessed place, and I'm ready to go. I'm done. I'm kind of done. I'm done once we get past these elections and just seeing the stuff that I saw here in Florida. It is just, Tallahassee is calling me more and more. So I'm trying to find ways to get closer to Tallahassee, to work in Tallahassee. So that's kind of really my goal here. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. That's why I didn't come with this story yesterday. We did a very short, I think we did like maybe an hour all in all with lives and videos yesterday. So this was really should have been talked about yesterday when it was breaking, but it's still a shock value today on Manic Monday. Who are Andrew and Tristian Tate? Again, I didn't even hear about these guys, didn't even know about these guys until they were arrested, but somehow they must be some pretty big wigs, because I mean they were dripping with gold and expensive clothing and all this other shit. I guess maybe I need to start dressing like I don't know. I think I'm underdressed for the profession I have. See all these people walking out like GQ, and it's like, I don't know. I just never been like that. I don't get it. But anyways, whatever. So Andrew and Tristian Tate were arrested by U.S. Marshals in Miami on Saturday, July 18th, executing a sealed warrant on behalf of an extradition request from the United Kingdom. The dual U.S. British citizens are currently held in federal detention ahead of extradition proceedings. Now, you got to understand, these are guys that probably have never been in trouble before. This is probably freaking them out. Anybody that has to sit in a jail cell, you're going to freak out if you've never sat in one. Me, if I ever go back, I don't like general population. I tell them I'm suicidal. I'll go get in a turtle suit and be in the freaking medical wing before I'll ever go out into general population. And they know I do it, and I tell them I do it. I mean, and there's nothing they can do about it, because as soon as you say that you're self-harm oriented, then even if they know you're full of shit, they still have to go through the protocols. I'm sorry. I don't put me out there with those scurvy bitches. All right. That's the way I was back in my 20s. But anyways, getting back to this, yeah, it is. There are significant charges, and that's why I'm saying, because they are well-known political people as well. So I just want to make sure that this, this being close to an election cycle, even though they're not running for office in any way, could this be? I'm really feeling like these guys did something terrible. That's just my gut, my hunch, but I'm going to give you guys all avenues of this, because it was brought up in some of the reports that I'm seeing that these guys are political. So we know how the political, engine works when they need to start, so we have to add that spot in. But in all honesty, they look like they would behave inappropriately. They look like that they are entitled to certain things, right? And that's how they present themselves, as these entitled rich guys, right? So would they be the ones that have the mentality to do something like this to a woman? You bet your ass they do. But again, that doesn't mean they did. And we got to be very careful here, because there are some additional allegations here that says that maybe this is all just smoke and mirrors from the government, the UK government. So I'm walking on eggshells with this case, because I don't know which way it's going to go. But in my gut, I feel like these guys have done something terrible. I mean, the allegations that they've got is that they're being charged with are pretty grotesque and very serious. So if these are the types of guys, then of course they deserve to be behind bars. Of course they do. Just because you've got money does not give you the rights to assault or ruin women's lives over disgusting sexual gratification. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. So let's go over this. So the arrest followed an announcement from the UK Crown Prosecution Services authorizing 38 new criminal charges involving additional alleged victims. This brings the total number of UK charges for the brothers to 59. If they are convicted of any of these, you're never going to see them online again, except in news. This is all stemming from an investigation in the Bedfordshire Police for alleged offenses committed between July 2010 and August 2017. So this was probably before they were as well known as they are today. And this is from a 7-year period, a very specific 7-year period that was almost a decade ago. Would they have changed their image since a decade ago? You bet your ass they probably did. And again, why I'm saying this is not, I'm going to be as fair as I can be, because I don't just dive in. When a woman screams, rape or sexual assault or anything, I don't automatically believe them. Why? Because I've heard the story called many times and come to find out the women lied. Okay? And this is where I get very, very, very upset, because there are so many women out there that have truly been assaulted. I have been one of them. So I am highly offended when people scream allegations against men that didn't happen. Okay? And yes, we do have a system that is catered to women for doing that, right? Including in politics. We see it every single election cycle. Sexual assault, sexual assault, sexual assault, sexual assault. It's becoming so widespread, we don't know which ones are true and which ones are fiction. That's how disgusting it's gotten. So no, I do not just jump right in and take the woman's side, and never will, because of those things. Every person has the right to be heard, including the alleged suspect. So because of those things, I'm never going to just immediately dive right in and take the woman's side. But here, we do have indicators, okay? And I look at a lot of different indicators. Would they be able to do this? The answer is yes. Could they? Did they have motive, means, and opportunity to do this during that time frame? They absolutely did. So now it's kind of coming into, did they do it or did they not do it? Is this political? Is this not political? And I'm just going, and I know that that's going to be some of the arguments, because I'm already starting seeing some of the allegations and some of the, people for and against these people and what their conversations are. And so I do feel like they're in hot water here. I am kind of believing the allegations. Maybe not all of the allegations or the stacking of the allegations, but I am believing some of this. So I think we need to be very careful here, and not overly support the victims and not overly support the suspects, because right now this case truly can go both ways. But unfortunately, I do believe that Andrew and Tristian are guilty of something here. I think they're going to be found guilty, maybe not for the full charges. Andrew Tate carrying the bulk of them, 42 charges. He's facing 7 additional counts of rape, alongside with new counts of facilitating traffic, sexual exploitation, assault, occasioning actual, what does it say? Assault, occasioning actual body harm. I don't know what that must be a UK charge. I don't quite understand what that charge is, but that's how it's written here. And then there's 19 charges connected to extreme pornography. And this is where we're going to have some problems. And these images of children, the CSAM. So this is what they're being alleged to have done. And again, I do believe some of this stuff they're going to be able to convict them on in a court of law. So if you guys are fans of Andrew and Tristian Tate, again, I never knew who they were until their arrest. I think they're pigs. I don't know what else to say. We'll find out if they're truly pigs or not, but I think they're pigs. Federal authorities took the Tate brothers into custody outside of James L. Knight Center in downtown Miami moments before Andrew Tate was scheduled to co-host an IBA bare knuckles boxing event with former UFC champ John Jones. Video footage captured during the arrest showed Andrew Tate attempting to pass his mobile phone to his bodyguard as he was handcuffed. The brothers previously spent months under house arrest and judicial restriction in Bucharest, Romania, after being indicted in 2022 on separate HT and organized crime charges. Romanian courts had previously ruled the brothers could be extradited to UK, but only after Romanian legal proceedings were fully concluded. However, after Romanian prosecutors unexpectedly lifted their travel ban in February 2025, the brothers fled to Florida on a private jet. And so now the UK has ordered this extradition, and of course we cooperate with UK. You're not going to hide here in this state of Florida. So coming down to some of the allegations, we're going to get into all of this here. This is from Reuters. This is in Los Angeles. Social media influencers Andrew and Tristian Tate have been arrested in the United States after British authorities issued 38 new charges against the brothers, including rape and actual bodily harm and human trafficking. Britain is seeking to extradite the brothers to face prosecution for both the new charges and the pre-existing ones. So these brothers, there's no way that these brothers did not know that this was going to happen, folks, because again, they were already on house arrest. They were already previously indicted on these charges. This was not shocking for them. And I wouldn't be surprised in Romania, them bribing a government to get them travel passes. And then we find out they took a private jet right over here to Florida, and they've been kind of hunkered down since. We don't want your kind here, okay? And we definitely don't want you preying on the women of Miami. So, and sorry, but in my opinion, some women are stupid. They see a good-looking guy and they throw themselves at him. They think they have money or prestige or power. That women literally throw themselves at men. And it's disgusting. And these men have done terrible things to other women, and you're literally throwing yourself at this guy. I wish we had a class on self-respect, okay? I think we need a woman's class on self-respect out here for these beautiful ladies out here that need to realize they're more than just their body and their looks, okay? You guys are smart, beautiful, and you don't have to put your bodies through all the stuff you put your bodies through for prestige or money or power, okay, ladies? I'm sorry. You can go out there and get it yourself. You don't have to do it on your knees or on your back. I'm just saying. And I guess that's inappropriate for the charges that they're being charged with, right? But I'm not talking about the victims. I'm talking about the women that know these men, know their history. I never met these men before. I don't know who they are. But, there are women that have been following them. They're social media people. So you can't tell me that their fans don't know what's going on with them. And I guarantee if their fans were in front of them, one lady or two ladies, probably 50 ladies would be throwing themselves at them, knowing exactly what they are charged with. It just and to know that there's CSAM in this story with these guys. Ladies, have some self-respect, okay? Maybe we need to have a Bullhorn Betty boot camp for self-respect. I don't know, okay? You're beautiful, you're powerful. You don't need to do this to yourself. I'm sorry. You just don't need to do this to yourself. So Andrew and Tristian Tate were arrested, and we kind of know what they're arrested. I think all these arguments are still the same. They're all about the same exact article. They've been arrested, just different photos and stuff like that. We've seen the wide range of charges that they've been charged with, including the CSAM, and I don't know what they mean by, what was that word that they used with the porn thing? What do they call it? What was the charges? Like, they have it for like something with like porn, like, but it wasn't porn. It was like major, like, graphic or something. I can't remember what the word that they used for the porn, but it was and I'm gonna have to get my glasses on. Social media charges, including charges facing both charges, blah blah blah. But there was some boot camp with Betty. There you go, boot camp with Betty. But there was stuff with the C-STEM, but there was they said something about the porn was like really bad, different. I can't remember the word they used though. I'll have to go back to it. Let me see, maybe it's on there. Hold on here, maybe it's on here. Extreme pornography. I don't know what extreme pornography is. I don't know what the definition of extreme pornography is. But they're saying it's extreme pornography, you know, and I mean, we got the CSAM on there, but I don't understand what the definition of extreme pornography truly means in the sense of this case. What is maybe we should look up. I just want to know what the definition of extreme pornography is. Definition. Extreme pornography generally refers to explicit sexual material that goes beyond standard adult content by incorporating extreme violence, degradation, or non-consensual acts. Taboo fetish. They said the legal definition and scope. Now, this is of the United States, and this is the United Kingdom. Okay, it says in many jurisdictions, such as the United Kingdom, under the criminal justice and let me put this up on the screen so you guys can read along with me. Here it is. So this is what it says for the definition of extreme pornography. In many jurisdictions, such as the United Kingdom, under the Criminal Justice and Immigration Act 2008, extreme pornography is a specific legal category. It criminalizes the possession of material that is grossly offensive and explicitly depicts life-threatening injury or violence. Oh my gosh, like this, they're talking about like snuff films. I hope they're not associated with snuff films. That would be just disgusting. But they're from different countries. They were in Romania. Okay, Romania is not really known for their moral standards. Serious injury, non-consensual acts. So maybe they were recording themselves doing this with the partners. And then, of course, the taboo and fetishes such as bestiality, yeah, that thing, with human corpse. Okay. So I kind of see, oh, no. I kind of see what they mean by extreme. So there's definitely some very disturbing acts that they recorded themselves or was in possession of, related to that case. Again, I don't know Andrew or Tristian. I don't follow Andrew or Tristian. They would never be my cup of tea. Okay. I'm not with GQs, okay? If you know anything about me, any man that sits in front of the freaking mirror more than I do, I'm sorry, I'm never getting down like that, okay? They don't even, it's not entertaining to me. I would not be a viewer of this person because they look good, okay? That's for desperate women and desperate housewives. Okay? None of which I am, okay? So, again, never heard of them. They were pooping on people like Vince McMahon. Oh, good gracious. That is so gross. That is so gross. So gross. So gross. Oh, my God. Yeah, that's the problem I have with that horsey love. But anyways, that's that. Let's move past it. I just wanted to give you guys an update on this. Do I believe they are capable of it? Yes, I do believe they're capable of it. But I'd like to hear the story. But it seems like they knew this stuff was coming. And it seems like they've been thinking that their money is going to be able, their privilege is going to be able to hide them. And that's what I don't like. Whenever you're fleeing from your country and fleeing to a different country, that's you already established your mentality that you think you're guilty. Okay? I don't run. I don't run. I show up. I show up each and every time because I know I'm not guilty. You know, no matter what they do. I should, like, when I did the driving under the influence and stuff like that, I was guilty of that. Why? Because I did. I was under the influence of alcohol. Should never have been operating a motor vehicle. And I did, right? And that is something that I forever will have to take with me. But other things, I show up. Why? Because I know I didn't do them. I know what they're saying is an absolute lie. There's no way you can prove this to be true. So I have no problem showing up. Okay? I have no problem showing up. And these people fled. And he thought he was safe. And he was literally, like, people were hiring this man. To like that USFC or whatever he was doing, where he was getting paid. That was a paid gig. So you've got people knowing the history of these. Again, I don't know these people. Didn't know this stuff was going on, but they were on house arrest since 2022. You knew they fled from Romania to Florida, and you're hiring them to MC a boxing match? What the hell is wrong with people in America? What is wrong with you people in Miami? This is what enables this kind of stuff, CSAM, this extreme porn, and all this other stuff to still have life. To still have life. We're going to move briefly over to Sebastian Rogers, and it's because I just wanted to show this photo. That's all. I just wanted to show this photo and remind people that Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers is missing. He's still missing. And that is the sheriff kissing the ass of the stepfather. You know, the one that the neighbors told in a report that the sheriff had. Remember that? Oh, this is AI, guys. Don't think he's actually doing. This is AI. But it's perfect. It's perfect, right? Perfect. So the sheriff that's kissing Chris Proudfoot's ass right now, that's how we see this whole entire case, right? Because Chris Proudfoot, Eric Craddock knew that Chris Proudfoot, that the neighbors told his officers that Chris hated Sebastian and wanted Sebastian to die. I mean, I just want you guys to understand that. He hated Sebastian and wanted Sebastian to die. And now and then he left. Never came back home until his stepson was gone and gone forever. That's a little creepy to me. That's a little creepy. And then we have some idiots on these platforms that think it's funny to club the father, the only person that's been fighting for this disabled boy, because this piece of shit right here in the orange, which he should be orange head to toe, has never searched for him, wants him dead, and is happy he's gone. And has went on to live his best life along with the boy's mom. Live their best life ever. That truly is sad and truly a shame. And it's sad that the father of this boy has to file suit just to get people to listen. That's what's truly sad. Is this right here should have never had to happen had this officer just did right by this boy, right? Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Now, there is another lawsuit, and again, it comes down to our conversation. Enough with this confidentiality with our children, our Department of Children and Family Service. They're doing serious things wrong, and we can't even learn about them. Do you know that the suit that Seth has with the Department of Children and Family Services are under seal? I'm learning that the Department of Children and Family Services lawsuit for their mishandling of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers' case is under seal. Everything that these yahoos do with our children, they try to cover up across this country, and I'm sick and tired of it. And we need to be screaming from the rooftops, no more confidentiality in the Department of Children and Family Services. They're injuring our children, and they're pushing us out from ever finding out the truth. How can we, the bosses, help make policy or hire people appropriate for positions we don't even know there's problems in because our government's too busy trying to hide it from us? There's no transparency in our Department of Children and Family Services, and they're injuring our children. They're injuring our children. They're injuring our children all across this country, forgetting about them, losing them. They're being murdered by their caregivers, and we don't even know about them for years. And then when we find out about them, we're oh, that's confidential. That's confidential. That's confidential. So you can literally have our children murdered, and we can't even see or know about it. The confidentiality in the Department of Children and Family Services have got to come to an end. They are destroying people's lives from within, and we don't even know about it. And when we try to get educated, they scream confidentiality. No, our children do not get confidentiality. Not when they are taking taxpayer funds. There is no confidentiality when you have your hand out for taxpayer funds. Now, you want confidentiality? Fine. Then it needs to go private. It needs to go private. It needs to find private funding. But while these things are being funded by the taxpayer deserves answers. So I don't know how we're going to accomplish this. They have been able to get away with this for decades. Decades. It needs to come to an end. We need to be getting with for the activists in the chat right now, we need you guys to start doing your work with your politicians, reaching out and telling them that's confidentiality. I'm going to start bringing it up. I'm going to start bringing it up. And again, like I said, I'm moving myself so I can be more involved in the state aspect and helping legislate for my state. And some of these things are going to be just like this, making sure that the confidentiality is stripped from the Department of Children and Family Services. We can do this. We can do this. We turn our clients into numbers. Now they have confidentiality from their names, but they can no longer keep the information from us. If they're doing wrong in the Department of Children and Family Services, we have a right to find it. And we have a right to hold those people accountable, including top management, top staff, and directors. Right now, they're all being able to skate while they're destroying young children's lives, and nobody is doing anything about it. And when I say these type of things, I'm going to be censored on this. They're not going, well, we know YouTube is just proliferating our channels with advertisements, so I don't even think it's going to affect this. So we'll see. We'll see. But at the end of the day, Sebastian needs to be brought home, and we need to bring attention to this. But this whole thing about sealing, no, you don't get to seal. You don't get to hide. You don't get to lie to the American people about what's going on behind the scenes with our children. I'm done. I'm done. Whatever I need to do to change that policy, I'm absolutely going to work as hard as I possibly can to change that policy, because they are hiding and they are doing terrible things to our children and ripping children out of homes that should not be ripped out of, taking kids out of home for infinity. That means they can never go back. And again, never once charging these parents with a crime. This isn't enough. Enough. I don't know what the hell they're doing, but they ain't doing what we're paying them to do. And then when we try to find out what the hell is really going on, they scream confidentiality. I'm done. I'm done. We need to work harder on removing confidentiality out of the Department of Children and Family Services. They do not get to hide and create all of these crimes against children and hide behind these laws. Okay? They don't get to do that. They don't get to do that, and they are doing that. That's exactly what's happening. All right, guys, we're about to jump into our case with Miss Nancy Guthrie. So we've obviously just went over Tristian and Andrew Tate. What a horrible, it looks like they're going to be charged with some of these things. They're going to be in jail for a really long time in the UK. It sounds like, and that's what does sound like, Raven. I mean, the courts in the United States, the family courts are a joke. They are a kangaroo court. They think that they like, nobody goes to jail. All you got to do is go to family court. Oh, did you sexually assault your child? Okay, well, we're going to remove the child from your house. You can try to get your child back, and 5 or 10 years from now, we'll reevaluate whether the child can go back in your home. Not one flipping charge for the person that essays their own child. I'm sick and tired of it. And then and so the courts get to rule. They feel so powerful in family court. Oh, well, we're not going to send them over. We're not going to refer them over to criminal conduct. We're just going to take the child out of their home indefinitely. No. You no longer get to take children out of home indefinitely without charges. It is time to hold our judiciary accountable. And it's time to hold our Department of Children and Family Services accountable, too. And I really don't care if YouTube feels necessary to ding me and take away some advertisements because we're speaking the truth on this channel. By God, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you guys would like to support this channel in a multitude of other ways, please consider doing so. Monthly membership is the best way you can help our channel grow. One thing we are finding out is there was a mass shooting in Tucson. We're finding out a lot of things that are happening in Pima County. A lot of crime, a lot of things that their law enforcement should be proactive about so it doesn't get to this point, but they are never proactive. They're always reactive because Chris Nanos destroyed that department. Single-handedly destroyed that department. Only one person, and it was Chris Nanos, a criminal sheriff that's a bad cop, giving all other cops bad names. So they can't even stop a mass shooting. They had no idea this mass shooting was going on. They come there once again, reactive instead of proactive. And we learned about that from, I believe it was 857 Tucson is the one that broke this case, this new case of this mass shooting. I don't like these things. I don't like these things going on. 9 people injured outside of an Arizona pizza restaurant. Suspect shot by police. All of this being carried out. Not a random act of violence. 2 dead, 7 injured. No, that's Asheville. That's not. I grabbed the wrong one when I was looking at Asheville. That didn't go with me. And then it comes down to why Chris Nanos was ever in the hot seat to begin with. Because he's a crook. He's a POS. He's a bad cop. And he's unfairly enriched himself. And that's what it comes down to. We saw his Corvette. We hear that he's living in almost $1 million house. How is a sheriff living in almost $1 million house? How is he driving around in almost $100,000 car? Okay? Doesn't make sense. Maybe if somebody stole money, it might. I don't know.
Said, let's move forward and talk a little bit about what do we want to call him? Nanos?
I'm going to call him Sheriff Nanos.
Okay.
You can call him.
I'll call him
any number of things. You can, click the clown horn, whatever you want to do.
Okay, so let's set this up for the audience. Tell the audience where we're going here tonight.
So we went back to 2015, about 11 years ago, and took a look at the FBI investigation that was done into the Pima County Sheriff's Office. And what happened? This all happened under Sheriff Chris Nanos' leadership. Now, before we jump into this, I think it's important to kind of know the order of things. How long has he been a sheriff, et cetera. And he came into and out of office. So it's not like he's been there for 10 years straight. So
So he hasn't even been a sheriff for combined of 10 full years. He's been in sheriff for 1 round and been a sheriff for another round. And even all the stuff related to the sheriff, he's got a lot of lawsuits against him right now. A lot of lawsuits. The frivolous one of $1.3 million from the inmate inside the jail obviously was dismissed by the judge. So that was a kind of a win, but I don't even consider it a win. I think it was feckless to begin with, meritless to begin with.
The high-level overview. Chris Nanos was appointed sheriff, Pima County Sheriff, in August of 2015. Were you going to say something?
So he was appointed. That means he wasn't elected. Something happened to somebody up, and somebody put him in that place, that position, most likely the governor. And usually, once you get in there by appointment, your next election, you're usually kept over. That's kind of how that all works, typically.
Appointed.
Yes, appointed.
That's important to understand for the audience.
This is true. Okay, so let me back up just for a second. Chris Nanos in 2014 was the second in command under Sheriff Dupnick. And so when Dupnick retired in 2015, the Board of Supervisors appointed Chris Nanos to step into the sheriff's shoes midway through the year, August 1st, 2015. To replace the retiring sheriff. In 2016, Chris Nanos lost the election for sheriff because of this whole scandal that we're going to lay out.
Okay, so he lost the election right after that, and typically you don't do that. So whenever you lose the election after it, that means people don't like you. People don't like you at all. So he was in there for, it looks like he was sheriff for less than a year. And in 2016, when they had the election, he was booted. They said, nope. And it was because what Karen is referring to as this scandal. And this is what the FBI was looking to indict him on. And they should have indicted him on. And you know what? The statute, from my understanding, the statutes of limitations has not run out. Why are they not arresting this sheriff and giving reprieve to the people in this community?
For you tonight. So he lost the election to Mark Napier. That was 2016. In 2020, Sheriff Nanos ran again, but this time he defeated Napier in the sheriff's race. So that was 2020.
So he was appointed in 2015. He stayed there to fill out the rest of the term, and then he was booted, and then 4 years later he ran again in 2020. He snuffed out the incumbent.
In 2024, Nanos ended up winning re-election, but we can't forget he put his opponent, Sheriff's Lieutenant Heather Lapin, what I call under house arrest.
There you go. So he violated another person that was going against him's rights. And so for the last 3 months of the election, she was basically forced into her house. She could not campaign, which was highly unlawful, to restrict somebody like that. Like that right there, he should be in jail for. That's next to kidnapping, in my opinion. He uses the law to assault people. That's Chris Nanos. He's a criminal sheriff. I said that. I'm going to continue to say that. He is a criminal sheriff. He gives cops bad names. He's a bad cop. He's a bad cop.
AKA, he put her on administrative leave for 3 weeks, in the 3 weeks before the election.
Now tell everybody what that means. I mean, for those who may not know it, maybe overseas in Australia or New Zealand or whatever.
So administrative leave means that she could not come into the sheriff's department and do her job.
Now do the math, right, everybody? Right, hon?
Yeah, it's outrageous.
Do the math.
Outrageous.
Your opponent,
political opponent,
in an election, running for the job that you want because the sheriff is an elected position. The guy you're running against basically puts you in jail. He freezes you out of the election, even during the day that she was supposed to vote.
And the only reason he could even do that is because she worked in the sheriff's department.
Right.
If she had a job elsewhere, Nanos could have never extended his long arm of the law to affect her.
Corrupt. He's a crooked, corrupt man that likes to beat cuffed individuals and send them to the ICU. He's a bad cop. He's a bad cop. He's a bad cop. He's a bad cop. And the board of supervisors won't even get rid of a very bad cop and actually condone his behavior. Fire everybody on that stupid board.
But she worked under him in the sheriff's department. And by the way, that she sued him, and it's an unsettled lawsuit. It's still out there.
That is still going. That lawsuit is still pending. Now, Nanos won a lawsuit recently from an inmate in the jail who sued the Pima County Sheriff's Office for $1.3 million. But the court just threw that case out because the person suing is a inmate in the jail. And so don't let him, pull a fast one on you that just because that lawsuit got thrown out. Again, this goes back to the time where even he was in El Paso and they couldn't take him to the grand jury. So he's got some tremendous luck right now. But I think this Nancy Guthrie case, the luck's going to run out. It's coming. I can feel it. Go ahead.
Okay. So you guys heard that. Like, he's just a bad cop. And now everything has, even though the people in the community didn't realize how bad he was, they now know how extremely bad Chris Nanos truly is.
Okay, so again, back to 2024, Nanos wins by a mere 481 votes.
And I almost guarantee if they would have went and threw out the bad votes, the ones that double votes and all this other stuff, we know that in 2020 and in 2024, we had problems with our voting in the Dominion machines and the ballot machines. We just had declassification of all of this. So we know that there was absolute interference in 2020 as well as 2024.
That's like a handful of votes.
481 votes because he kept his opponent.
He kept his opponent
from
going out and campaigning in the last 3 weeks.
Last 3 weeks.
And he's being sued over that.
Unbelievable.
Okay. Yeah. So here we are in 2026, right?
Yep.
The world gets to meet Sheriff Nanos February 1st, 2026, when
he only has 2 more years left. He's going to be out, but he's going to wreak havoc on this community. And not only that, all the lawsuits that are going to be here long after he leaves, all the millions of dollars that's going to be paid, that's going to be paid by the taxpayers for all of the lawsuits against the sheriff in the county.
And then when Nancy Guthrie disappeared out of her home, the folks of Pima County have been dealing with him for a number of years prior to that. So do you want me to give the high-level overview of the case, or you want to walk us through it?
Let's walk everybody through. And by the way, this you get an idea how this guy operates by the way he gutted the department to anybody that opposed him. I mean,
So now you know why the department is so bad off, because one of the agents there ran against him, almost beat him out, and he punished everybody that supported her and marginalized them. 86 them, if you will.
At the homicide team, we're seeing that. He took the individuals like the Sergeant Cross from, I guess he's with the Deputies Association. He put that guy on a desk somewhere in the middle of the East Jabip.
And that's a lawsuit as well.
That's also a lawsuit.
Which we've reported on this channel before.
He hooks up all the streamers out in front of Nancy Guthrie's house, even though there were maybe 100 other media outlets. And once those media outlets left, he didn't think that, that citizen journalist existed. So he had them arrested. And
I mean, just everything, anything and everything against this guy. He thinks that because he wears the badge, he has a right to do whatever the hell he wants because he's been able to get away with it for 40 blessed years. Chris Nanos deserves to be in handcuffs and taken down to the jail. He needs to be in the jail, not running it.
And 3 of those cases have already been tossed out and adjudicated, meaning 2 of them with prejudice and 1 without. So I can see some lawsuits on top of that coming because, that's a First Amendment violation from the word go. Now we get into this RICO thing. And when we talk about this RICO thing, this is a really serious problem. It's as serious as the situation in El Paso. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because in this particular case, we're gonna lay it out for you. Even though he skated, this was the foundation of the relationship.
He skated on everything.
When the FBI showed up to help in the Nancy Guthrie case. This is what started the animosity.
This is just goes to show you, if you're a part of politics, if you're a sheriff or anything, the laws don't apply to you. You can beat people in handcuffs. You can steal money. You can do whatever the hell you want to do, and there is no repercussions. Hell, you can even force a lady into her home and not even be able to come out for 3 months under guise of you are going to arrest that person if they do. I cannot imagine. And then every time somebody comes out against him, he arrests them. Like the 3 podcasters. He's a bad cop. And this is why your board of supervisors out there should lose their job. They know this, and they have enabled him to continue to do this. Okay? They've enabled him to do this to you and your community. Law-abiding citizens have no rights in Pima County, but all the frickin' drug addicts and criminals do. When are you guys going to get tired of that? When are you going to get tired of that and want your independence back there in Pima County? When are you ready to fight for your safety again in Pima County? No, instead of that, you've got a lady being yanked out of her bed in the middle of the night and a frickin' mass shooting at the pizza house.
And the non-cooperation and the word salad about, well, we notified the FBI, yada, yada, yet it was a task force member from his agency, a female. And so this guy is real good about triple talk, double talk, word salad talk. And I don't know if it's in the water or what, but in this particular case, the FBI investigated the Pima County Sheriff's Office and in a RICO scandal, meaning how roughly $500,000, $500,000 in seized forfeiture funds was quietly diverted for nearly 20 years.
Wow. So they've been giving themselves raises this entire time.
And why only one man was ever charged.
I wonder who it was. Oh, the person right under Chris Nanos. Oh.
And this is a really, really sad case.
And I'm a little spoiler alert. The man that was charged was Sheriff Nanos' number 2 guy at the time.
Yes. And his number 2 guy today had been also charged with a situation. He lost his job. He fought to get it back. He got it back, but tell the audience what he had to do.
Change his name.
And I can never remember, is it Joe Harvey or Joe Cameron? I forget what his original last name was, but he came back. He got his job back. He changed his name, came back to the sheriff's department, and now...
Can you imagine having to go and legally change your name in order to get your job back? And who would have allowed him to have his job back because he changed his name? That is some cronyism, favoritism. OMG. OMG. What? Are you freaking losing your...
Now he's the number 2 guy under
Nanos.
Under Nanos, but he got in trouble for excessive force.
Imagine
as a
that.
sheriff's deputy, patrolman, a number of years ago.
Birds of a feather and all. Birds of a feather and all, you know? Wow. Excessive force. That's exactly what Nanos did.
So imagine that. His number 2 guy right now, had to change his name to come back into the sheriff's department. And the guy over the criminal investigations division, i.e. over the Nancy Guthrie case, has never worked a homicide. And his past is quite colorful or quite interesting as well. So this is the cast of characters that you have. Now, you be the judge. You tell us what your feelings are, what your thoughts are. Feel free to fire up the chat. But you can't make this stuff up.
So there you guys have it, okay? We have evidence that Chris Nanos was siphoning off almost $500,000 with his right-hand man for a couple decades, okay? And this is what they made it stick for his right-hand man, but not for him. Somehow or another, he protected himself. But you can't tell me this creep, this guy that likes beating armed people, sending them, or cuffed people, sending them to the ICU. This person that micromanages everything. This person that lies about everything. This person that's never been held accountable for one freaking crime he's committed, to the point that he is now the sheriff. He's a crook that's running the jail. That's running the sheriff's department. I mean, if you wanted to have a mafia kingpin, well, Chris Nanos would be it. Okay? He would be it. He would be the one in charge of the sheriff's department. I wouldn't be surprised if he's getting some kickbacks from some cartel. I wouldn't be surprised about that at all. If we found that out, I wouldn't be surprised about it at all. He looks like he's cartel. I do not like Chris Nanos. I think he's a piece of garbage. Okay? I think he gives cops bad names and he puts cops' lives in danger. He's a bad cop, and he does not. He needs to be stripped. And I was hopeful that we didn't have a corrupted board of supervisors, but we do. And it's very clear that they are corrupted, because any board of supervisors that really give a crap about their citizens would never allow a criminal sheriff to run their sheriff's department over their dead body. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, whether it's a Republican or Democrat, you don't want a freaking criminal running the freaking sheriff's department. And you're forcing everybody to deal with this shit. It's just garbage. It's garbage. Anyways, getting on. So we know that the sheriff has a new announcement on the missing person of Nancy Guthrie. There is people going out that are still exploiting this investigation and exploiting this case. Nancy Guthrie, 84-year-old grandmother, ripped out of her bed in the middle of the night by a masked gunman, had a ransom note where people were trying to extort money from the family. Well, now the extortion changes just a little bit. People are running GoFundMes and other things trying to raise money for a family that's not asking for the money. So Chris Nanos, the sheriff's department, the criminal sheriff, is warning people, please be careful of this CV code or QR code going around that is asking for people money for this family. This family does not need money. This is a scam. This is just another extortion attempt for the Guthrie family. Please do not fall for it. If you see it, please reach out to law enforcement. Send it over to law enforcement if you get any type of scams that you see in the future. The Guthrie family does not need money. Again, the Guthrie family does not need money. They have plenty of money. They have $1 million reward for somebody that will bring their loved one home. So somebody that has $1 million family reward does not, I repeat, does not need a GoFundMe or the public's money. So anything requesting money for the Guthrie family, please turn it in. It is a scam. The family's not asking for money. Now, if you guys are wondering what this is Patty Waterlinger. She's got a message for Nancy Guthrie's case. I believe she lost a family member some time ago. Her 11-year-old son, Jacob, was killed after he was abducted at gunpoint by a masked man. And so she has some information to say that I thought would be interesting. And it looks like they privated this video. Do we have another message from her? Hold on. I think there was a couple places where this lady was on here, so let me go and do this again.
Such important information, such important lessons there, and not creating people who hurt people is, we've heard that expression. Before I let you go, so many, when you think about you having this heartache for so many years,
okay,
so many.
They're not bringing it. Hold on, let's see. Do I have it on here? Somebody's got the, maybe it's on YouTube. Looks like this was on YouTube, so let me just hit the YouTube. Maybe we can get it on YouTube. This is so they took it. Damn it! This is what frustrates me. I do these things. I find the stuff I need. I don't download them because they're in the public domain, and then we have something like this where they won't play the link. They won't play. The link is now privated, and it was a good link. I wish you guys had gotten an opportunity to see it. Let me see if I can just look it up again, see if there's any type of video out there that's more than this lady. Here we go. Maybe this is it. Nope, it's privated. All right, well, it is what it is. We'll move past it. Why did the sheriff visit Guthrie's house? This is an interesting article that just came out early this morning. And it says the self-styled investigator claimed that Sheriff Chris Nanos had visited the Guthrie house. The claim from Jonathan Lee Riches, or JLR, shared on July 19th. Riches has been covering the Guthrie case from Tucson. I believe that this Hindu Time is JLR's, somebody that works for JLR that does this, because they bring in more of his articles than any other articles that I've seen. I don't know who this is, but I feel like they're affiliated with JLR somehow. I'll start looking into it. Sheriffs came to Nancy's house today, he wrote on X. This post piqued interest because it had been some time since Nancy Guthrie went missing, so the alleged visit from the sheriff left many wondering as to the reason. Today's show, Savannah, mother was reported missing by her family on February 1st, and authorities believe she was taken from her Catalina Foothill home near Tucson, Arizona, the night before. However, it has been over 5 months. Nanos Department, the Pima County Sheriff, have not publicly named any suspects in the case. Amid this, JLR raised questions about why Nanos might have returned to what investigators are widely considering the scene of the crime. Why Sheriff Nanos returned to Nancy Guthrie's house? Several people reacted to JLR's post of Nanos returning to Guthrie's home. I guess his conscience is bothering him about how he handled the Nancy Guthrie's case, missing or kidnapped, one wrote, casting doubt on the investigation. Notably, Nanos has been under fire for some time over his handling of the case. Many believe he should have passed on the DNA evidence to the FBI first to be tested in their labs. Instead, Nanos opted to send it to a private lab in Florida that Pima County sheriffs used. According to some following the case, this was wasted precious time in the search for Nancy Guthrie. However, the FBI has in no way indicated anything of the sort. And since Nanos Department is a lead investigator agency on the case, they are free to take the calls as they saw fit. Another remark, have they ever even looked under the bed? Done backyard digging? No one takes a body in a car. That's not true. the percentage is very low for that. That's not true. Lots of these missing years eventually found graves, backyards, garages, etc. Even perps don't want to drive with a corpse, and I agree with that. That's why I believe that she would be taken within 5 miles of that location. Yet another said, interesting development then. Meanwhile, another person claimed that the presence of the cops was due to a YouTuber. Cops actually said they had reports that a car tried to hit Sleuth. And see, he's like, look, tried to hit Sleuth. Sleuth who? So this person knows these people. I think this Hindu Time is JLR's page. I do. I feel like he's got this set up. I don't know why, but I just believe this would be him or somebody affiliated with him. That's why they were there. Asked if he was okay. Didn't give him a hard time at all, one wrote. This appears to be tied with post JLR shared to make his claim about Nanos visiting Guthrie's home. Don't know, but sleuth intuition is at Nancy's. Cops came, didn't ask him to leave. Person had written on X, which JLR shared. The same person claimed that they heard a person talking from Nancy's backyard and added they believed the voice belonged to 2 women. Also heard some people talking from Nano's backyard. 2 women, I believe, they wrote. However, those claims could not be independently verified. So there you guys have it for the new updates on Miss Nancy Guthrie. Now, I don't know what that means. Corvette is my favorite car. My parents had a 68 Silvervet. Oh, not mine. I don't like dragging on the ground. I've been in a lot of different cars. I've been in a Corvette before, and not necessarily the smoothest ride I've ever been on. Sleuth is another YouTuber that was live. Yeah, I know who he is. I know who Sleuth Intuition is. I've watched him. And I do know that he was almost hit, but I don't know what they were talking about, Nanos being back at the house. I have not seen any images of Nanos arriving there. So, unfortunately, I know some of the tricks and trades of Jonathan, and I don't use those in my everyday work. He does. He's also, he's got 500,000 followers. I don't, right? But I don't lie to my audience, and I don't I don't create news. I watch news and I monitor and I bring it back to you. If I have breaking news because something I found, I break it, but I don't create it. And that's the difference between me and Jonathan. As you guys know, you guys can go back for the last 3 years and see how many mistakes that man has made on his reporting. It's because he got clicks and views, and he got titles that were catchy and clicky, and people tuned in and they liked his content. It's for entertainment purposes only. It's not for newsworthy purposes. He's an entertainer. So we have to remember that. And, while I do appreciate a lot of the work he gets, some of the stuff like this Chris Nanos, how does he know Chris Nanos was there? Where's the photo of Chris Nanos being on that property? We have none. It's all speculative, but it got attention, and got attention where a whole entire article was written about it. So you guys got to understand, when we've come to find out, we'll find out Chris Nanos was never even there. And it was all bogus. And then people want to beat me up because I say that, right? So we're going to move over to Nolan Wells. Nolan Wells, today we're hearing is his funeral. This is Nolan Wells over here. Bright football star. His parents loved him. It seemed like he hung out with his friends. It sounds like he went out to celebrate. We don't know what happened. We don't know what the kids were doing out there. I do not believe this is a racially motivated case, and I'm going to say that because I'm going to be covering this case, and I already see who the parents have hired to represent them and to deal with media and stuff like that. Not that I don't agree with what they're doing. I absolutely think that when you have a child that is deceased or died unexpectedly, you're going to use whatever resources you have to find out the answers you need to find out what happened to your loved one. So I just want to be very clear. I don't blame the family. I know that Al Sharpton and Crump are very anti-white people, and that's okay. I'm not really pleased with it, but to each their own, right? This is not my child. It's not your child. It's their child that they're trying to get answers for. So I'm not going to question their means to do that. I support anybody's ability, even the Guthrie family, to use the resources they have available to them to get the attention that they need for their loved one in their case. And I say that for everybody. And this is exactly what this family, Nolan Wells family, did. They found the support and that the financial help and partners that they needed in Al Sharpton and Crump. And for that, that's their support system. That's who's helping them financially get where they need to be. And I'm sorry, I don't see anybody else stepping up to the place to get them where they need to be. I don't see other people going out and throwing money at them for their funeral or the autopsy. I see this activist network that's doing that for them. And I'm part of an activist network myself, right? Just not that activist network, and that's what we do. So I'm not going to criticize what this family is doing to get answers for their son. When it comes to your child, you will do anything to get answers, okay? And that means if you can pull a race card, you're going to pull a race card. I'm sorry, I don't care who you are. I always bring the real to you guys. And as a human being, if my child died and I needed answers, I'm going to get those answers by any means necessary. Period. And that's what we need to remember. So I do not believe these children are racist. I do not believe his friends are racist. I do not believe he died because of the color of his skin. I don't believe racism had anything to do with why their son is gone. Okay, and I'm not going to present this case as such. But what I will say is I will support their decisions to work with the people that they chose to work with and run this case the way that they choose to run this case, because they're the parents and this cannot be easy for them. But it's my job to make sure that you guys know this is not a racist case. Whatever happened to him was probably stupid teenage shit. And that's all that has to it doesn't matter what color his skin is or what color his friend's skin are. Teenagers do stupid shit, and that's what we're dealing with here. Something happened out here, and it was stupid shit. Even if it was an altercation, it was over stupid shit, right? I don't know what to believe, because I think the case is premature and we don't have enough facts to really lean in on any aspect. And again, I'm not doing the racial crap. I'm not doing it. So I'm not leaning in on anybody. These are teenage kids. They're going through a lot. Their friend is dead. That's emotional. These kids don't know how to handle stuff like this. This is their first experience. So this is going to affect them on they're young kids, and it's going to affect them much like it affected the kids in the Idaho 4. Okay, it's very hard for them. I guarantee that these are football guys. I'm pretty sure his friends shed tears over his death. Okay, this is emotional, and they're about to lay him to rest today. I hope his friends can come there, but I'm pretty sure his family probably doesn't want them there, which is sad, because they don't know what happened to their son, and to be punishing people that could have potentially been innocent in all of this is, in my opinion, just, again, wrong. But this family's in pain and they're struggling, and it's not for me to tell, to say what I think they should or should not do. That is for them. This is their son, and they're having to bury their son. I will never, ever, ever tell a parent how to act when it's their child, okay? Unless they're the reason why the child is gone, which we know that their parents are not. They were proud of their son. He was a great son. He was smart. He was athletic. He was going places, and they were proud of him. They were proud of their son and what he was able to accomplish. And he was going to college. He was a good boy. He was a good boy. But still, a lot of people do stupid stuff. Sometimes those fun days come with a lot of problems. Why? Because kids do stupid shit not knowing that they can hurt themselves. We're hearing of bridge jumping and stuff like that. We don't know what happened. We know that he knows how to swim. He's familiar with water. He's not somebody that has never swam before, or he's been in pools. He enjoyed stuff. He obviously knows how to do things. So it's not like a drowning, like he would, unless he hit his head, unless he was under substances, unless he had a medical event or an OD, which again, these are young kids. We can't dismiss those things. I don't care what parent says, my kid is the best kid. I've seen straight A students OD. Okay? So I don't want to hear that my son, my daughter, they're straight A students, they would never get involved in this. Okay? This is a different day and time in our history than it's ever been before. And this stuff is real. Because back when we were going to school, we had marijuana, right? Hardly addictive. The stuff that they have out now, your first try, you could be addicted, just like that, unbeknownst to them. And we all know how the curious mind is of these teenagers. So it's a different world out there, and people and parents need to understand it. This is a different world that we know nothing about, because the types of substances that they've got now, we didn't have back in our days. Or if we did, we didn't know about them. I mean, we knew about cola, alcohol, and some pine. Okay, that was what we had in our days. Okay, so the stuff that the kids have this day and age it's all synthetic. It's all manufactured shit. It's not even natural. It's not even grown from the earth. At least cola and pine was grown from the ground. I mean, to say at least a little bit. The stuff now that they've got right now is born in labs. You gotta have a freaking science degree to make the kind of drugs that they've got going around now. I don't know how they're teaching our kids all this stuff. They can teach all this crap in school, but they can't teach them about the law or finances. What's pine? Mary Jane? It's marijuana. You never pined before? Don't know my slang. You hear that? They don't know my slang. They don't know my slang. Oh, I guess I'm going to have to refresh this one. It's just freezing up. It's freezing up a little bit. Sorry, guys. Oh, you guys don't even see it. It's not even up. There it is.
This morning, 2 weeks after the body of Nolan Wells was pulled from the waters off the Mississippi Gulf Coast, the 18-year-old is being laid to rest in his hometown of Ocean Springs, where he was a standout high school football player. His mother said his teammates, friends, and the public are welcome.
I know if Nolan was here, he'd be like, Mom, just keep talking to the people, keep telling my story, keep telling your story. So,
and he seems like he has a lovely family, a lovely mom, a lovely father. He's a good boy. And again, I'm not going to rip these parents upside down and one side and upside. I'm not going to do it. They lost their son. They're trying to find answers, and they're doing everything that they possibly can to find answers. Those are good. Those are good parents. Okay, those are good parents.
That is going to be my plan.
Tyler Perry offered to pay for the funeral. The Reverend Al Sharpton will deliver the eulogy. He has raised questions about accounts of what happened to Wells, and how his death is being investigated.
It's sad because they're going to turn his funeral into a political statement, but if you guys don't know, funerals are very, very, very expensive. I wish Al Sharpton would talk about the boy and his legacy and where they go, but we know that that's not what if Al Sharpton is leading the eulogy or speaking at any point, it's going to be turned into a spectacle, which is a shame. But again,
To tell us don't rush to judgment saying it was racist is fine. But then I'm telling you, don't rush to judgment saying it was not racism, because we do not know. We want justice.
Investigators say they believe Wells drowned during a July 4th boat trip with friends. His body was recovered 2 days later just off a remote barrier island. Autopsy results are pending. His parents will bury their son without the answers they've demanded about the circumstances leading to his death.
This loss, this grief, this pain It's different. It's insurmountable. And
I will tell you, just watching this is making me tear up because it's hard not to, this beautiful mother that loves her son, that's given her son every opportunity, which is what every child should get. And they thought they were finally there, and then they wake up. He goes out with friends on July 4th and doesn't come back. I mean, that pain, that last time you spoke to that child, that being the only thing, you go through a lifetimes of what would I have, I wish I would have said something that day, something different, something, that's what she has, and that's what she has to hold on to for the rest of her life. I mean, my heart breaks for this mom. It truly does. It truly does.
It's like you get these flood of emotions all at different times, and grief is so multi-layered. One second I might be okay and I can talk about things and I can listen to his stories, and then the next minute I am falling apart.
The funeral is open to the public, what his mom has called a...
And I'm pretty sure I heard that JLR is going to be there, which is one of the reasons why I chose not to go. I was going to do kind of like this little trip on the way up, but I just opted not to go. It's just, there's just no, we'll cover it from here. I think that'll be, what it is, so.
The investigation continues in the death of an 18-year-old college football player whose body was found off the Mississippi coast after a July 4th trip with friends. Now, the attorney representing the family of Nolan Wells says prosecutors plan to take the case before a grand jury once the investigation is complete. Authorities have not released a cause of death. Both the state autopsy and an independent autopsy requested by the family remain pending.
And Kaepernick paid for the autopsy, so we are getting some things, and I'm glad that they've got these resources available to them, because I got to tell you, we covered the case where the boy was in the tree, and if you guys don't remember that case, it's where this kid, he had taken some Adderall, and it made him flip out a little bit, and he ended up wrecking his car, and then he went and stole another car, and he wrecked that into a ditch, and then he took off running, and he was having this mental break, and police were treating it like he was this gangster that robbed this car, and it wasn't. He was having a mental break. He would have never done this. He was a good boy. And his family was telling law enforcement that, and so they didn't want him to quit searching for their son that day, but they wrapped up and said he's a fugitive of the law and just stopped searching. Well, the boy was, he ran up a tree and was scared. He stayed up in that tree until he froze to death, literally froze to death. And months later, he was halfway hanging out of the tree, and that's the way it was. And there was a lot of stuff, and there was an eye that was like kind of, protruding, and so the family thought he had been abused. He had been chased, abused, and murdered. And that was their biggest concern. They were also very, very concerned about this child being a homicide victim and it being classified as an accident. So we were able to get them a pathologist. Nobody else was able to. A family member here in our chat has a brother that was a pathologist and was able to get us in connection with them. I had the full autopsy report and all the photos. It was quite extensive, and I was able to send that over to him, and that pathologist was able to give at least the family a second opinion and peace of mind that their son was not murdered and hung in a tree, which is what, as you can imagine, this family was thinking at the time. And so just that second opinion, just them knowing that that their child wasn't murdered, they were able to have some peace of mind. Okay? It didn't change the fact that their son was gone and he had died. and the pain that goes along with it, but they wanted to make sure he wasn't murdered, and they had no resources to do it. And by the graciousness of our audience member and her brother, they were able, like, I'm getting goosebumps, telling this story, but they were able to put this family's mind at ease, at least for that aspect of it, And that's what this family is seeking too. They are uneasy. They just want to make sure nobody killed their son. And if somebody hurt their son, that person be held accountable. And who can, think about it. He was a healthy young man that went off with his friends and died as a result of it. Anybody wants to know, if you were not there, you don't know what happened, you want to know what happened to your loved one. So again, completely support this family in their ability to try to find out what happened to their loved one, Nolan Wells. Now, this is what's going to be very, very heartbreaking, and I don't know why. Because, again, this is a young man that lost his life. His parents had it, just like Seth Rogers, had a normal day on July 4th, got up, they knew their son was at their friend's house, that he was going to go have a great day for July 4th. Mom and dad just probably enjoying their time with themselves, just enjoying the 4th of July, maybe cooking out with friends or family or whatever they were planning on doing for the 4th of July. Maybe they were planning on doing nothing but being lazy, and that's why Nolan decided to go hang out with his friends, because mom and dad weren't planning on doing a whole lot that day, right? We don't know. But at the end of the day, these parents are innocent. They lost their son, and now the mom is getting some hate mail. While I don't agree necessarily with the whole, looking at this from a racist angle, at the end of the day, it's bringing resources that are helping this family find answers to what happened to their son, and I will always support that. But to be sending a mom that lost her son hate mail, it takes a special kind of evil to do something like that. I may not agree with a lot of things, but when you look at it, when you play the tape through and find out why they're doing the things they're doing, you see a very clear picture. Your clear picture is mom and dad just want to know what happened to their son, and they're going to use whatever resources they have to find out. But to sit there and to send hate mail to the mother, I wish you would. I wish you would, and I find out about it. I wish you wouldn't allow my audience members to find out about it. We would embarrass you like you've never been embarrassed. Like, I would be willing to take out $1,000 ad a week in your local newspaper and do local advertisements on your social media showing people how despicable you are. So if anybody knows who sent the Wells family this hate mail, if you know who did it, if you have anything, if you come across me and you're like, even if it's a year later and you're coming across this video about Nolan Wells, and you see me here right before you saying, hey, if you know who sent this hate mail, send me their information. I want you to send me their information to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Because I do act lawfully and legally. I don't send hate mail, but I will splatter your name all over social media. I will take out ads so everybody knows what kind of monster you are. And this is the only way we're going to start fighting back against these animals on these social media platforms, is exposing them, and exposing them in a great way, right? And that's what we need to start doing here on these platforms. If we don't have any law enforcement or YouTube policing our content, then we need to police our own content. And at the end of the day, if somebody's out there writing hate mails to a mother that just lost her entire world, well, we'll definitely, it seems like you need attention, we'll definitely put you on a pedestal. We'll definitely put you on the pedestal. I think by the time you get the attention that you think you're seeking or you want to seek, I think you'll find out very quickly it's not the attention you want. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. So, guys, please say a prayer for this family. I can't imagine what his mom and dad are going through, or the grief or the pain. He was a bright young man. He was going places, and they never get to see him grow up. They never get to see him get married. They never get to see their beautiful grandkids. This, his parents were robbed of a lot, but more importantly, he was robbed of a lot. And we need to find out why. Was it because somebody did something wrong that injured him? Or was it because maybe he did something stupid that injured him and his friends were scared and didn't know how to handle it? Again, these people's brains are not fully developed, and they are willing to do things. They're willing to hide things because they don't want to get in trouble. They're scared they're going to get in trouble. And we have to remember that these are young 20-something-year-olds, okay? They're not as smart as you wish they were. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. They're just not as smart as you wish they were.
Sociable with everyone, didn't meet a stranger.
Tonight, as Nolan Javeayah Wells' death draws national attention, the people who knew him best are refusing to let his story be reduced to a headline. The questions surrounding his death remain unanswered. Officials are urging patience for facts while his family continues to demand answers. Good evening. I'm Troy Johnson.
And I'm Megan West. Tomorrow, civil rights attorney Ben Crump and the Reverend Al Sharpton will stand beside Nolan's family. They plan to call for a fully transparent investigation. The 18-year-old Southwest Community College student was found dead near Horn Island after spending the 4th of July with his friends. Only on 16 WAPT, our Kamari Hamer spoke with Wells' football coach and is in the studio now with how he's remembering him.
Well, Megan, the coach tells me that Nolan was the type of player that any coach would want on their team. And as the family continues to search for answers, the team is also showing some support. Nolan Wells was getting ready for another football season, another chance to chase his dream of playing at the next level. He was supposed to report back to Southwest Mississippi Community College. Instead, his team is preparing to say goodbye.
It's heartbreaking, man, whenever it's obviously you don't want to see anyone lose their life at any age, and but someone young like this with a future in front of them, it's tough.
18-year-old Wells was supposed to move into his dorm on Monday to begin getting ready for this football season. The teenager was found dead on Horn Island Monday morning.
There's a mixture of feelings, with these guys. Some guys want to talk about it, and some, kind of want to have time to themselves, and some are angry and, crying.
Wells played wide receiver at Southwest. George says it's the impact that he made off the field that will be missed the most.
I can't speak enough about the type of teammate that he was. These players here, man, it's really, there's guys that are, all the guys are heartbroken that were here last year. At his position meetings, the wide receivers, nobody will sit in his chair.
George describes the student athlete as a person full of life and always willing to put others first.
He was a guy that never had a bad day, never. Very, very sociable with everyone,
He was a good boy. He was a good boy. He didn't deserve this. He just didn't. He didn't deserve this. It is absolutely heartbreaking to think, what happened. I think I'm going to finish that up because I like hearing about the victim.
Didn't meet a stranger. He would pop up at my office and come sit on the couch just to hang out and talk.
George says Wells was a part of his first recruiting class at Southwest, and he believes the example Nolan set will continue to shape the program for years to come.
When you step into a situation in a program that you just got hired into that hasn't had a lot of success, and you're having to, set the culture, Nolan is that guy that's going to help you set the culture of the program with the standard, consistently doing things right.
And Coach George tells us,
I just can't. I can't. It's so sad. It's so sad. Who knows Nolan well, and why has the Black Mississippi teen death received widespread attention? I think it's because the case, well, first of all, the reason why this case is getting widespread attention is these two people right here, his mom and his dad, not willing to take anything less than the full truth. That's what's drove this case. His mom and his dad and the love that they had for their boy is what's made this case front page news. That's That's why we're here. That's why we're all seeing this case, is because of two parents that love their children and child and not willing to give up without a fight to find out what happened. I wish every parent got these opportunities to have, independent autopsies and other things. But most of this stuff is forked over by your own funds. And if you don't have them, you don't have them, right? And that's what people don't understand. Like, this stuff is very expensive. This funeral, a typical funeral, is upwards of $20,000+ this day and age for a funeral. And that's just the funeral. That's not a place to bury your child if you want to bury them or cremate them. Cremating is obviously a lot more expensive, or a lot less expensive, but most people want to be laid to rest in the ground. And that is very expensive. The place, the headstone, everything, very, very, very expensive. But the funeral itself, and the casket and all that, is upwards of $20,000+. A lot of families don't have that. And this is unexpected. Nobody expects to have to bury their 18-year-old son that's healthy and is going places. This is the furthest thing from their mind. And then they wake up one day and find out their son is gone and gone forever. And I can't imagine how that is. But if you want to know why this case made it where it made it, how it's debuted on the Bullhorn Betty channel, and why it's national attention, is because of these two people right here, mom and dad. This is what we expect from families and parents, okay? Because this is what parents do when they don't have answers and their loved one is missing or deceased, and it's their child. They stand up and they fight. So when we have people like Chris and Katie and Don and Candace Bly that just run away and hide and try to duck, bob, and weave and don't want attention to their case, these families all want as much attention to their case as possible, because they know for a fact that if they get attention, then their case is going to get the resources and the answers that they need. Because typically that's what it is. It has to go big. Because when you go big, you get all of the attention. You get the attention of the big wigs. It's the best of the best processing the investigation. It's the best of the best investigators handling the case. They put their best foot forward because you're in the national spotlight now. This is the big leagues, right? This is the big leagues. And they put all these counties and states put their best people on these things when they're in the big leagues. So this family is finally getting the attention it should have. Now, would they have gotten the attention? Would they have gotten the answers? Would this change the answers? We don't know. We don't know. But I will tell you, in all of the times that I'm with families, I tell you to use every bit of resources you have available to you. Any opportunity you have to bring your child up, to talk about your child, you take that opportunity, even if it's on channels you don't really agree with or you don't like. Anytime, any place, to get your child's face and name out there when they're missing and or deceased and you need numbers, you do what it takes. This family has not disappointed. This family probably found strength that they themselves didn't even know they had. And they're fighting for their son. So we're definitely going to absolutely commend them for that. I'm not going to be nasty to them. I'm not doing anything nasty. I agree with everything that they're doing right now. I don't believe this is a racist case, but again, they're getting the resources they need to have that aspect investigated, and that's what they need and that's what they want. So just sad. I think we covered just about everything on this show today. Did we? What else do we have? We have Lynette Hooker. So we're kind of down to the last little bit of our case, guys. I want to thank you all for being here with us. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. I just got a message from Justin. He said that my stuff's not getting out. He actually asked me if I'm being shadow banned. I can't imagine me being shadow banned, but for whatever reason, if you guys can help get my name out there, pass my show around to your friends and family, or post them on your social media platform, I will greatly appreciate it. We We just need to get some numbers up on this channel. Not that, we roll whether we have the numbers or not, but when a content creator reaches out to me and says I'm not getting notifications on a channel that I'm always getting notifications on, it makes you question that. So please don't forget to check your notification bell. If your notification bell is on personalized, please change it to be set for all bells, right? So if you go to that bell and you're already subscribed and you're subscribed to my channel and you see that bell, click on it. I bet you your notification is down there for personalized. You need to turn that bell to all so you don't miss any content. And everybody in here, we have 261 people in the chat right now. If all 261 of you go out and check that bell and turn it to all, none of you guys will miss another show that we have here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. So Lynette Hooker is a 50-year-old mother from Michigan. She disappeared on a yacht with her husband. This was a bucket list. She's right down here. This was a bucket list item for Miss Lynette Hooker. She wanted to sell everything and go on this world trip from her yacht. And they sold their house, sold all their belongings, and decided to set sail on the ocean. And they were in the Bahamas at the time she disappeared. They were not on vacation. I keep hearing people say they were on vacation in the Bahamas. They were not on the vacation in Bahamas. They lived on their boat, and they were in the Bahamas for however long they were going to be staying in the Bahamas, okay? They, again, are not vacationing in the Bahamas. They were living in the Bahamas. They were renting a boat slip or mooring ball to stay there for an extended period of time and renting it month to month. So that's not a vacation. That's living. They lived on the sea. They had this boat life. The boat life is similar to the van life, except you're on a boat. And they wanted to travel the world on the boat, and they've seen a lot of different things. And she posted a lot of their stuff on social media about the outing. Well, they were drinking on land that day. They were at the Abaco Inn, which is a resort there on one of the barrier islands. And on their way back to the Soulmate, according to her husband of 25 years, Brian Hooker, 59-year-old, said that she fell off the dinghy in rough seas at around 7:30. Well, it just so happens we do have images of the seas at 7:30 in that area, and they were not rough at all. They were smooth as butter. So we already knew right out the gate that most of his story did not seem to it seemed something else was going on. But he said they never made it back to the Soulmate. She fell off the dinghy and was swept out to sea, and she had the key, so he ended up drifting all the way over to Marsh Harbor. The problem with that story is there was low tides. He could have walked in many of the areas that he said he was forced to drift in, and it took him 4 hours longer or even 5 or 6 hours longer to get across the area than it should have. So he obviously was concealing something, but what? Was he truly concealing the death of his wife? Well, we're now learning, yes, that is true. It appears that they did make it back to the Soulmate, and it does appear that she lost her life as a result of that. But here is an article that was read about 3 months ago about some of the information that I'd like to go back to, and it was the text that was provided. So the husband of Lynette told pals that the wind blew him away from his missing wife after news of her apparently overboard in the Bahamas. I also want to remind you, the same person, he also told he was knocked out of the boat as well. But that was the first and the last time he had ever made mention of him falling out of the boat. He never told that story again except to that one person. But the narrative puts him at odds with what law enforcement says happened to Lynette. He said Lynette was swept away by strong currents while trying to return to the couple's yacht Soulmate. So according to him, they never went back to Soulmate. We are now learning. I just want to remind you, this that we learned 3 months ago is all different now. So according to the latest reports, they made it back to the boat. She was murdered by her husband before 8 p.m. We don't know what happened after 8 p.m. We are hearing about a cubby, but I don't believe she was put in a cubby because we heard a major splash at 9:30. What was that splash at 9:30? To me, that's him moving her off the boat. So again, don't know what else to say about that. A Michigan woman who went missing in the Bahamas, investigators no longer believe her husband's story. So that was the previous story of her being thrown off the boat. And now they're saying, wait a minute, that story doesn't make sense. Authorities investigating the disappearance of Lynette Hooker, a 55-year-old Michigan resident missing since April 2026, by the way. That was Easter weekend she disappeared. What a monster. In the Bahamas, now question her husband's initial accounts of the events leading to her vanishing. New digital forensic evidence has prompted U.S. and Bahamian officials to expand the search and treat the case as a potential criminal matter. They're treating this case as a homicide investigation. That is what they are treating this case. Now, while we had a few other stories, pretty much these are our four stories, four mysteries, still no answers. None of these cases have yet been resolved. Again, Tristian and Andrew Tate saddled with some 50 some odd charges amongst them. Very, very terrible charges against women and children. We will be monitoring this case. I don't know who these content or social media personalities are. We're hearing that they're well known. I don't know who they are. They are Romanian, and they fled Romania when they were lifted because they were on house arrest since 2022, and they fled to Florida, and they've just been recently arrested in Miami, and they are being extradited back to the UK to deal with these indictments of these horrible indictments of extreme pornography, CSAM, among other things, rape, sexual assault, all types of stuff. Nancy Guthrie still never been found. We're hearing Chris Nanos potentially went back to the house. I don't believe it. I believe that was a manufactured story. Lynette Hooker, still no information on where her body is, but we are making headway with her case. They do believe she was murdered by her husband. Her body was on board. They need now to link that her husband murdered her. I believe they have video. I believe they have audio and sound, also with those videos, because I know that my interior camera picks up me singing around the house. It picks up me cussing at myself around the house. It picks up me scolding Delilah or even playing with Delilah. My interior one starts recording when it hears me. And the cameras that I saw are the exact same cameras I have on my interior window ledge on inside my home, in different areas of my home. So I absolutely know for a fact that they automatically pick up sound. So did they catch the fight? Did they hear the altercation? Did they hear Lynette begging for her life? We're going to be talking about that this afternoon. Did Lynette beg for her life? So guys, I really do appreciate all of you guys coming out, spending this 2 hours with me on this show. We will be monitoring these cases, especially Tristian and Andrew cases, because again, well-known content creators, socialites, if you will, multi-country socialites, and they've fled their home country of Romania and fled to Florida to escape from some serious charges. Well, the UK is in the process of extraditing them back to their country for these gruesome charges. So we'll monitor all of these cases and we'll keep you guys up to date. We'll see you back later this afternoon for our intense conversation about Lynette Hooker and her case and her death. So be there or be square. Thank you for being here. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. And don't forget, there is a multitude of ways to help this channel grow. One is free of charge. Hit that thumbs up button. If you made it this far, we've obviously kept your attention. Throw that thumbs up button. Show some love to Betty. If you want to do a little bit more, there's so many things that you can do by sharing our content, being a monthly partner, or contributing a one-time fee to Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal, or through super chats, super stickers, and of course, you guys on the replay crew, you guys get the option of a super thanks. So we do appreciate all of you. It's never expected, but 100% appreciated helping to support this channel. Guys, have a great day, a manic Monday. We'll see you later this afternoon on our in-depth discussion of Lynette Hooker. We might throw some new information in there about Nancy Guthrie. We're hearing some new stuff. So we'll see. We'll see if we'll break it down into 2 shows or break it down to 1, but stay right here. Don't forget to go out and change that bell. If you want to, this is my suggestion for everybody in here. Go out there, unsubscribe from this channel, and resubscribe to this channel. It will automatically kick you guys back in, and it'll also help promote this channel out further. So if you guys want to help, please unsubscribe, resubscribe, and change that bell to all, and that would be the best thing that you can do to help us, at least for today. God bless. We'll see you soon.